the show by. You know we finna go up, touching on the topics you need to know about. And plus we need to hear from the city, so hold your phones out. The line's open, not to mention the whole goal is to keep your mind open, man. Conversation in your blind moments. Oh, it's that moment we all been waiting on. Rejuvenated, remove it, but we ain't take too long. Award winner, I think it's time that we make it known. Ain't nobody rocking like we rocking on the radio, so I highly suggest that you don't touch that dial. A local legend, but we about to take the show worldwide. Real rap, all you gotta do is relax and get back. This lady who gon' break you out, Kit Kat. You know that's big flex me. They call me savage and I've been dead in a minute too. I'm guaranteed to show naked ass like I was waiting for. Here we go. I love it. Turn up the volume, enjoy the show. Like when they poop. V94.9 WATV, happy Sunday to you. It's Lady Wu. Got the crew in the building. Hello to all of you who are tuned in, who are watching, who are wherever you are vibing with the show. Happy Sunday. Last Sunday, we celebrated 17 years. 17 years. That is still just unbelievable. Like, we've been doing this for a long time. We'll talk about that briefly in a few minutes. In the meantime, crew, introduce yourselves. Let them know who's in the building.
What's going on? It's your boy Eddie.
Hello.
It's your boy Jay Hat.
Hey there.
I am attorney Kristen French.
Oh.
Hi, it's Marshall.
Hey. Okay. What we got? You want to sing?
No, not today. Last but certainly not least, this is Wendy.
Hey, Wendy.
Hi.
And special guest in studio tonight, bringing us an event to attend. Hello, Miss Chandler.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Indeed. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Awesome. So you're always full of great things and exciting adventures, and you're here today to talk about yet another one. So the Birmingham Public Library is doing a novel tasting. What is that?
That's correct. Well, so our last event, a couple of us in the room had a great time at the last one. So I hope people can come out to the next one.
Yes.
A novel tasting is a bit of a twist from classic cocktails. Those are our two biggest fundraisers of the year. A novel tasting is an event where you can taste local wines and beers. You can participate in a silent auction. There's a gift game with prizes. There's this year we're spicing it up a little bit. There's going to be a champagne shelf where you will pull a stack of books and your branded wine glass with champagne or grapefruit juice, depending on which you prefer.
Okay.
Will come through the shelf. We've just got, we really want to bring people in because of the importance of the library, the importance of understanding literacy in our community. So we're really hoping people will come out to this event.
I love it. A novel tasting. It sounds so dope. Like, you just hear the name of it. You're not sure what that means. So basically, this is one of the major fundraisers that the library does. How much are tickets?
So tickets are ranging from $75 to, I believe, in the $120 range if you want to be in the VIP lounge. Now, so there's a VIP option from 5 to 6 if you would like some hors d'oeuvres, an early taste of the champagne wall, an early taste of our Redmont vodka distillery. She always comes out with a great cocktail each year. You can also have early access to our Magic City mini bar setup we've got up. So a whole hour more of enjoyment and entertainment.
Not a novel tasting, a benefit for the Birmingham Public Library. This event is going down Thursday, right?
Yes, this is Thursday. So 5 to 6, the VIP, 6 to 8:30 is the general admission. Now, granted, if you don't do VIP, general admission is going to be so much fun as well. We've got Soul Musica, a local band. They're actually flying in someone from another, I believe it's in Nashville. It's an artist that's coming in to participate in the live music as well. So it's going to be so much fun.
I'm excited about this. So Thursday, April 17th, that's this coming Thursday, 6 to 8:30 p.m. And it's a dope event. So it sounds like a nice date. I like to tell people about dates they can attend, or like if you want to do like a self-care getaway and get out and do something, this sounds like that type of event.
Absolutely, it is. It's something you can enjoy. It's you don't put a big event like this in a library setting. We are trying to bring people into the library to show what all we have to offer. We're not just books. While we will get you in there to enjoy our books, we got to get the people in the doors, and Alabama's 44th in literacy rates, and we got to fix that.
So we definitely need to get in the books.
Yes.
Get in the building, Birmingham Public Library, the downtown location, right?
Yes, that's correct. Central location. There's parking out back, and there will be plenty of fun to be had that evening.
Awesome. 2100 Park Place. For tickets, where can people go?
You can go to cobpl.org. There will be a banner where you can get your tickets. However, I think the easiest is just to go to Eventbrite, Google or search a novel tasting, Birmingham Public Library. You can buy your tickets there.
A novel tasting. Y'all, that sounds dope. When we go out, we have an awesome time together when the crew is out. So if I bring them, you all need to be prepared for tons of laughter while novel tasting.
I love it.
City, meet us there. A novel tasting going down Thursday, April 17th, 6 to 8:30 p.m. at the Birmingham Public Library, 2100 Park Place. It's a benefit for the Birmingham Public Library. Tickets are at copbl.org.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Chandler.
Thank you so much for having me.
Indeed. We look forward to Thursday. And anytime you have an opportunity to support the libraries, you should. You should. I'm a trustee on the board of directors or trustee. And then Kristen is a friend of the library. So we are really serving in those capacities. And we want you guys to attend and be a part of something great. This is going to be great. All right. We have more coming for you tonight. We're going to get to know one of our political candidates in the city. I think we kind of know her, but not as a mayoral candidate. So we'll get to talk to State Representative Juandalynn Givan in just a few minutes. But before we do that, how was your week? We got to know what that week do. What did your week do? We'll start over there with Eddie because he's going to give us the same report that he always gives. So let's hear it, Eddie.
Same show, new episode. Just seeing clients, navigating my own self-care.
Okay.
To make sure I stay on my toes and keep my own mental clarity going on. But for the most part, just feeling good, energized.
Awesome. Okay, so great week for you. Same show, new episode. Attorney Kristen French, how was your week?
I hate to be, the same thing, but yeah, same show.
That's a good thing.
New episode, clients, more clients, trying to get cases settled. You know how my week is. I did not DJ this week. So
no DJing.
No DJing this week. But definitely a great week for sure.
Okay. J Hat, right in time. What did we do?
Big week. Church as usual. Family as usual. And lots of rides. I picked up my slide on the Uber Glide. So it was pretty cool.
What does that mean? What?
Picked up on my riders. I've been doing rides all week.
Okay.
For Uber Lyft, my other job.
I think I'm gonna I'm gonna do that.
I'm loving it too because it was.
Wow, sorry. What that is? Sorry, it's a pimple or something. What is this? Just felt it in that moment. Okay.
Yeah. No events this week, but
okay.
Looking for something next week. What's up?
Cool. Wendy, what did we do?
So I'm gonna need for everybody, every parent, every mother to put me in their prayers because I did prom this week for my son.
Yeah.
So we did the whole prom send-off thing. It was very stressful, but it's over. We got it done. And I can say to my son and his day actually looked like they went to high school.
Okay, good.
I'm very proud of that. No ankles were out, no chest was shown, shirt button all the way up. We didn't rent any foreign cars because at some point I feel like this is going to get to a point where people are renting helicopters.
Already.
If I could have gotten him a limo, I would have.
Okay.
But, they didn't want that. But, I was just very proud of the way that him and his date represented
they kept
me
it
and her mom. They kept it classy. He's a classic man.
Okay.
But other than that, I did start journaling this week.
Okay.
It does not give me anxiety anymore to journal.
Good.
So we're journaling and we're writing things down. And we're waking up on time, 5:30.
Love it.
Okay.
Love it.
So that's my week.
Awesome. Okay.
I had a pretty busy week at work, the usual. I think I had more of a positive attitude than usual. So that was a nice self-reflection moment for me. So hopefully I can keep up the same for this week.
Love it. For me, your girl is thinking of a master plan. I got nothing but time and trying to get money on my hands. That's what I'm doing. So I'm in a very transitional phase right now. I'm cutting off some things. I'm cutting some things off and disconnecting from some situations that I completely believed in. I completely believed in them at some point in time. But then it's like, well, damn, do you believe in me? Well, if you don't, I got to show you that you must. You must. So I am on a master plan, period. So if you see me in these streets and I got on all black and a ski mask, just know she's working.
It's a part of the plan.
It's a part of the plan. She might be about to pass out because it's going to be 80 degrees this week, but it's a part of the plan. It's a part of the plan, Juandalynn Givan. What it do? How are you, ma'am? Y'all swing that mic. You might look if you got a plan, you may need to. We have to really put our heads down and get to work, and that's what I'm on. Like head down, being really, really, really creative and innovative. Like that's all I know this week. Last week, that's all I knew last week. So by the third week, I'm looking for some results.
Okay.
And I know that you are looking for some results in August because you're running for the mayor of the city of Birmingham.
I absolutely am running.
Well, first of all, welcome to the show.
First of all, thank you for having me on the show.
Second of all,
I walked in, I didn't know. I said, Lord, we got 5 or 6 people in here. What's going on?
Oh, yes, ma'am. We do this.
What's up? I didn't know to set up that format. I just always hear your voice.
Just pull up. I'm glad that you're here. And it's so crazy to me. I just told everybody we've celebrated 17 years.
Wow.
In 17 years, you have not been on the show.
Listen, let me.
What is that about?
Well, for one, I don't do a lot of radio.
Okay.
I've probably, in 15 years being elected, I've gone on probably after Thursday. That was my second time.
Really?
Maybe third time. Yeah, I just don't.
This way it's at, sister. Well, I'm glad that you're here.
Is it? Sometimes, you
Yes.
feel you have to. I felt like I need to have taken me something to kind of calm my head. I didn't know what to expect, what was going on. Did all of the comments started coming in. But I'm used to that.
So I will say that every show has its own flow. And the flow of the show, Vital, is really different. So there's none other like it. You are in the right place.
Well, I'm good. I got a lot of feedback from the show the other day. So, but that's part of the game. So
you are in the right place. So you announced probably 2 months ago?
Yeah, I actually announced on the 1st of January.
Oh, yes. What is it? Dang, time is flying.
Mm-hmm. What is that? 4 months out?
Time is flying.
Oh, yeah.
Do you hear me?
We
time
went to
is
sleep
flying.
and woke up and it was April.
Yeah, like time is really flying. So we got the announcement, and this is the season where everybody starts looking to see who's gonna run, who's gonna compete, this is that time. Who gonna split the city up? And Juandalynn Givan put her name in the hat. But you're already a political figure, already working, already serving.
Mm-hmm. I am in the Alabama House of Representatives.
Yeah.
Been so there 15 years, 4 terms. Democrat, proud Democrat. But I think for such a time as this, where we are now in the city. And listen, I've started every conversation off with this, having grown up under Richard Arrington Jr., his daughter was one of my closest friends, Erica, God rest her soul. I grew up in a very political environment, working campaigns even from when I was a kid. So I understand the lay of the land with politics, and especially when you have someone in office that's an incumbent. Everybody has their friend group, family circle, latch on circle, as I call it, access circle. But at the end of the day, every 4 years, the law says that we are to have elections. These seats are not owned by anyone, not even the seat that I own, that I currently occupy. And the law says that you're to have an election. And if the people should choose to send you back, you lease that seat for another 4 years.
Okay.
So this seat will be up. I have made a decision based upon many different factors, much consultation, that I am just as qualified as anyone with the level of political experience that I've had for not only the 15 years, but even previous to that, not only just political experience, but administrator experience as an administrator. My background is political science. I've served as a political analyst over the years. But not only that, I've worked for the city of Birmingham in the mayor's office. Worked for Richard Arrington Bell for a short term during his interim, and Bernard Kincaid before I went over to the Housing Authority to run its Hope 6 program, which, of course, you see the results of that downtown Central City, now Park Place, and here in what was known as the Brickyard, Tuxedo Terrace. So proud HBCU grad, Miles College, go Miles, go Bears, go Bears. And,
again, practicing for over 21 years now. I represent the Alabama Education Association. I am a true union lawyer and proud to do so, and have been doing so now for over 15 years.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So real quick, real qualified.
Well, there are some that question it, and I'm trying to figure out why.
What are they questioning?
Well, the first thing several people have said, well, and I understanding the dynamics of the politics. Well, what makes you qualified? What are your qualifications? I'm like, listen, did you hear me say I worked for 3 mayors? If you didn't hear me say that, let me tell you what I did when I worked for those 3 mayors. Well, the privatization of the zoo, we would not have had a zoo had it not been for Juandalynn and Givan. If you go down there to Eddie Kendrick Park on 4th Avenue, you're going to see my name on there as the project manager from the mayor's office that brought that project to fruition. Kenworth Trucking on Finley Avenue, the environmental court that is established right now for the city of Birmingham. That also fell under me. So I have very, very extensive experience. I worked at the street and sanitation department. I get this on out the way. So when those who say, well, have you worked as a city employee? Yeah, I worked because when I went to law school, I had to put myself through law school. And I started at the street and sanitation department working on the back of a garbage truck.
Okay.
From the garbage truck, from actually starting brush, then garbage, from on the back of the truck to driving garbage, to driving litter, getting my own crew and my own CDL license.
Come on in.
It was trying to survive, go to law school, be able to take care of myself. When all of my other girlfriends were in the banks, or they were relying on their parents, or they were at UPS and all of these other big stores.
Yeah.
For me, it was, I got to survive.
I can relate to that. So to that whole phrase, everything that you just said, having to, why do I have to prove myself to you? Like
women always do.
Okay, that part first.
I can't understand it, but not only do, and I'm glad this conversation, the flow is a little different. Women always do, and it always amazes me, even on the national scene.
Oh, yeah.
I've worked on many of national platforms with those running for president and other offices. And the first thing I always say is it amazes me how we are so apt to supporting a man. But when a woman gets in the race, everything has to be questioned relative to her qualifications, education, background. We just saw that with Kamala Harris. This woman has been an attorney general. She has served in the Senate. She VP for 4 years, but there were those, not only white men, but black men who questioned her ability.
And other women
and
too.
other women and women
sure.
of color. And I think for me, moving and navigate, that doesn't bother me though, because I've been doing it for so long. I just navigate around, and when that happens, I win. And that's one thing that I have very thick skin, but I'm always amazed by that. But we will run hills, mountains, valleys for a man. It doesn't matter. But when it comes to a woman,
you gotta prove yourself.
You gotta check off every list.
And I, like I say all the time, my resume is long. And it starts with very humble beginnings, similar to yours. I don't have a silver spoon. Didn't have somebody to write me a check to say they were going to pay for grad school or this next program or any of that. Ain't nobody giving us
Nobody's
anything.
giving us anything, And so I'm always proud when I see black women. I don't care, not even just a black woman, but when I see people, period, who are excelling, who are able now to reap the benefits of all of those things that they've worked hard for. We deal with people every day, Woo, that we see every single day that may look so good on the outside, but you don't know what they're going through.
Well, wait a minute. I'm glad that you went there.
On the inside, because we don't take time to see people. We've already prejudged. We've already categorized them in a box. Oh, she this. Oh, she that. Oh, he thinks she's this. Oh, this and this and that. But you miss it.
Don't even get a chance to experience a person for the preconceived notions.
It's just like that thing back in the day. People come up to you. Oh, I don't like such and such. So I used to hear that so much, and I would say, well, have you ever had a conversation with him?
I just don't like him.
Did you ever talk to him? But you don't like him. And sometimes it rubs off even on our kids, but it's just an interesting dynamic, especially, again, with women leadership.
Yeah.
Even with what you do here as a VJ, all that
trust.
you do, it's taken many, many years. I can't remember who it was on MTV back in the day. And it was like, it was unheard of for women to control the ones and twos and the mics.
It's still kind of that way. It's still
Lala.
happening.
It was Lala.
It was
Yeah,
Lala.
and
They
she
did her
still
thing.
had
Still
to break
happening.
down barriers.
Yeah, still
what's
happening today.
What's so amazing to me is that being a woman, we already have a nurturing nature, and we know how to serve more so than the male counterpart.
We do. We lead.
So
better.
being a servant or a
Ooh.
servant makes you a great leader.
Do you really? That's what the man
When you
said.
serve longer than what you're in leadership, it makes you a great leader.
You must have been. You must have been. I just gave this speech yesterday. I just gave a speech. If I roll it back, you'll hear me say that women are born nurturers, and nobody leads like a woman because we have to lead and govern and manage so many things.
We do
from
behind
children, hearts, on the job. We are the ones who keep everything stitched together. And no offense to my brothers out there. Listen, thank God for the men. I tell people all the time, listen, don't talk about a black man. Lift a black man up. But as you're lifting a black man up, the black man needs to also make sure he lift a sister up and not drag her.
Ooh, wait. Okay. See now this
we are the neck.
This is how it goes.
You the head, but the head can't turn without the neck.
Okay. Play that organ.
Okay. It's a crook in it.
Be clear. Okay. Preach, Wendy. So, as the woman that has stepped into the race, why you said like no time better than now, but I always, like when I think about legislation and making laws for a whole area, is that not a step backwards?
No.
So, okay.
I don't see it that way. Listen, this job, actually being in the legislature, has prepared me for this moment. People run for different positions. You see it all the time nationally, and sometimes we think that it's a step backwards or it's a step or two backwards or what have you.
Yeah.
Right now, let me just tell you something. Because I had an opportunity to work for Richard Arrington, and regardless of how you felt about him, he laid the blueprint. And I love this city and I love the people. I love the people that are in the district that I've represented for 15 years, but I also love this city. And right now, for me, the city is better than what it has become. Our cities, our communities, I don't care who you are. The realization is if you have glasses and you can see, and even if you don't, if you can barely see, our neighborhoods are run down. Birmingham has 99 neighborhoods.
Yeah.
99 neighborhoods, 23 communities. And every community that we drive in, it is plagued by dilapidation. It is plagued by paper, litter, brush, debris. The grass is overgrown. The lots are not cut.
Yep.
You got houses the streets sit dormant, no lighting, which is a danger in itself. One of the reasons you see so much crime is because the criminal mind is this. If I think I can get away with it, if I know no one's in that area or I know it's dormant, I know I can take a chance on getting away. I'm going to do it. But the realization is you have 99 neighborhoods, 23 communities. But for some reason, there is a belief in the minds of our people that what we see in downtown, uptown, and the South Side is proof that things have changed in Birmingham and it spells out growth. Well, the realization is that's not true. Because when you leave from downtown, and I mean, it's a short drive, when you hit that curve and you see the next street, North Birmingham, the northwest side of town.
Yeah.
When you get beyond Avondale, get outside of the good part of Woodlawn, as they call it now. When you get outside of those areas, you start going to Roebuck, you start going to Riley, you start going to Roosevelt City, you go to Pratt City, you go to Ensley, West End, all of those areas. There's such a sharp contrast, even down to the people walking. Listen, all day today, every street I drove in, people are walking like zombies now because the drugs are back
Hold
on the
on,
rise.
you going fast. You going fast. We ain't gotten there yet. Let's stop at
She know the lay of the land.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah,
Let's put a pin. Let's put a pin in that part. Eddie, put that pin there. Let's go back to what you were saying about the 99 neighborhoods. So we know that Mayor Woodfin ran heavy on the 99 neighborhoods. And in that role of mayor, you still have city councilors who are responsible for their neighborhoods. Like you represent this neighborhood. You live here. So you see that it's no lights. You see that it's blight. You see that this, and that. Where does the responsibility truly fall with those type things?
I'm not going to reference any names in my interview. I believe if you want to attack me, you attack first. Once you attack me, then I'm coming back.
Okay.
So that's the game. That's the game that I choose to play.
Okay.
It's coming. Now when, I don't know. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. The realization is Birmingham 8 years ago went into a transformation where you had all of those, regardless of what you thought of them, you had institutional knowledge. That means you had people who would check each other. You may get into some arguments, you may fuss, but there was always a balance. We have a system of government that should be built upon a bifurcated system: executive, legislative, and judicial.
Okay.
Once you have a system in which all of those with institutional knowledge are gone, now you have someone that has come in who really has no real knowledge, no real understanding, no one to check them. And then you are left with two city council persons who at that time bought into whatever the hype was, but however has no real power or authority to check anyone. You now have created a system where there is really one level of government truly. If you notice, even with this council, you do not see a block ever of 5 votes. That is not the structure of government. There has to be at some point a level, because those are the people at that point who have said enough is enough. I'm going to push you back instead of you always being able to push me back. Birmingham right now, I'll give you an example. The council, they don't have their own lawyers. They don't have their own lobbyists. So right now, everything is operating off of one system. So when you have one system in charge, this is what you get. So that means you're waiting in the wing, and you can only go so far, because if you do attempt to push issues back or attempt to stand, you're going to get iced out.
Okay.
And that's just a realization of where we are. So who's to blame? I'm not sure. I'm not here to blame anyone. I'm only here to talk about when I am elected, what I am going to do. And I welcome the opportunity to be challenged.
Okay.
I welcome the opportunity to make those changes and shifts. But also, I welcome the opportunity to say to the people that I'm going to pick up your garbage on a regular basis. I'm going to clean your streets. And I'm going to create livable communities. I'm going to put swimming pools back in these communities.
Okay.
Give our children somewhere to go, rebuild or restructure these community centers, put some nets up to the basketball goals, because folks are walking around here with basketballs and the goals are there, but there are no nets. And some of them have no rims. The realization is, if you want a better community, you've got to create a better community. We shouldn't have to go over to Homewood to swim. You shouldn't have to go miles away to swim when most of these communities have swimming pools, but they're sitting there dormant. So when you ask the question, Woo, what's going on with our kids? Tell me what our kids have to do in the neighborhoods. Tell me what they have to do to occupy their time. We don't have a real structure of the arts in our school systems. I mean the performing arts, not just writing and things of that nature. A friend of mine who's an attorney, Gail Gear, said this to me some years ago. She said, Juandalynn, the erosion of the public school system in the Black community came about when there was someone who allowed all of the arts and all of these things to be stripped away. Everybody in the room looked at her, because I did too. I was like, what in the world are you talking about? But now I see that, because when you go to these other school systems, you have so many different things embedded,
right,
that these kids can do that give them hope. If you don't give a child or a person hope, you're going to only give them damnation.
Right.
Okay.
There are a lot of kids, I feel like now they have nowhere to put out the creative energy that they have. So they use it in alternative ways. There's a performing arts school in Huntsville that I visit all the time. And though they have amazing kids at that school, because these kids have somewhere to put that energy. There is nowhere in the communities for the kids to put their energy.
You're
To
right.
play, to go outside, to have something to look forward to. And that's what we had. And that's why we have so much structure in our generation, because we had somewhere to go. So if you're going to be a part of the solution, let's be a part of the solution.
That documentary, I think that documentary, I don't know if you all saw it a few months back. This City Eats, and the kids were on there. They were interviewing from Mobile and Birmingham, and they interviewed all of these kids. And so when folks were talking about it, I said, listen, somebody should have gone and pulled some of those young men in to talk to them. Because once you hear a young man saying this city eats you alive, we don't have anything here to do. There's nothing here for us. That was also a cry for help. You can look at it and criticize, but the realization is, who went and talked to those boys? Nobody went and pulled one of those young men in to say, hey, look at here, son, let's have a conversation. Because also what that was, it's a crime cell. Mm-hmm. That's a crime cell all night and day. So for that, yeah, we need to find things. We need to rebuild our neighborhoods. You have to create livable communities. Right now, Birmingham, other than in certain areas, again, Southside, Uptown, and downtown, that's it. Yeah. But people are desensitized to that.
So let's look at your plan. Like I'm wanting to come from Montgomery and come back into the city. And before I go there, I want to know about your personal, like people like to know people. We like a story. We want to know like who you are, where you come from, what school did you go to, who are your people? Oh, that's your uncle. That hometown connection is what, like you said about the buying into the hype. Sometimes people just buy into the legacy. They buy into the tradition. They buy what church did you go to? So let's go there first, and then we're going to go into what your plan is.
Yeah, absolutely. I graduated from minor high school. I went to went to a public school. I believe in public education. I fight for those who work in public education. I attend Trinity Baptist Church right here on Greymount Avenue, right here by the historic A.H. Parker High School, just a few blocks up the way, that will be celebrating 125 years here in just in short order. Again, I attended Miles College, graduated from Miles College, Miles School of Law, again, worked in several levels of government, and I am proud to say that I am the daughter of Leroy and Patricia. And my nickname, because folks always hear me say Lily, so I think some people really thought I made it up. But when I first ran, even in the State House, it was Juandalynn, Lily, Givan. And I tell people every neighborhood has a Lily, a Kiki, a Boo Man, a May May, a Ray Ray, y'all, a Pookie, a Maine.
Yeah,
not man, but Maine.
Absolutely.
So, I'm just saying, y'all know I'm telling y'all the truth now. I'm just being honest. And that's who I am. I'm just that girl. Listen, I'm unapologetically me.
Okay.
I have the biggest heart in the world. I'll fight a fly at midnight for you. Y'all have seen me go hard in the paint. I'm not like the everyday average elected official, politician, whatever you want to call it. I'm just me. What you see is what you get. But what I'm not going to do is lie to you, lie on you, or lie for you. I'm going to do my best to tell you the truth. You can accept it or not, and we can hit it and move on. Listen, I don't make permanent enemies in politics. That's another thing. You have folks walking around here mad for 6, 7, 8, 9 years. And that's another reason we can't get anything done, because there's a tug of war. There's a structure and power structure here. But also there is a belief that if you call anyone out, or if you take a position or a stand, that you are raping them of either that belief that this is my guy or my girl, or, how dare you? But it's just all a part of the political structure. Always has been and always will be. And so for that's who I am. I don't have any children, but I have a brother, Darnell, Brian, Derek, and their children, that I want them to understand that they're not mine. And I'm on.
So
I
would
like to say this. So it's very oxymoronic. A lot of people fear a woman being in a position of power because of the emotion that is supposed to come behind it. But you are on the other end saying that you're more logical. So that might be a culture shock for people, seeing a woman that stands firm and is more logical than emotional.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
we don't need the emotional tug of war.
If we talk, we're being bitches. We're bitching. That's it. You're ratchet.
Absolutely.
Yeah. She's come on here. Y'all hear, just like what they're doing with Jasmine Crockett. What Jasmine Crockett is doing, every doggone Democrat up in Washington, D.C. need to be doing. You have nothing to lose. What do you have?
At this point, you don't.
At this point, you have nothing to lose. So you need to have your voices heard. But the realization when we do it, she's being mean, or she's a bulldog, she's vicious. No, this is just how I enunciate and pronounce my words, and this is my tone and my tenor. But my question is, have you sat down to have a conversation with me? And how can we reason together? Because at the end of the day, I'm still going back to this. When it is a man, no one questions anything. Nobody, and it just amazes me. Even I go back to Hillary Clinton. This woman has been the Secretary of State for the United States of America. Well, what else was she? Was President wife. She was a senator. She was all of that. And the men still said she didn't have any sense. And since we're on this, and I know the black men gonna tear me up, Stacey Abrams right now is not the governor of Georgia
because of the same mess.
Because 15 to 20% of black men refuse to vote for her. Kamala Harris, you still had that same gap. 15 to 20% of black men refused to vote for her.
And she ran the whole presidency.
And she ran no.
Okay, and then people
up there in the
people
days.
ask, people ask like, well, why are you single? Why don't you have children? A lot of that is the reason why people cannot handle. And my mom has always said, people don't handle people. Yeah, sometimes we get handled. And I have experienced getting handled or people trying to handle me because I am a woman. I'm an educated woman, well-spoken woman, well-versed woman, well-rounded woman.
We can handle as a whole.
Right?
As a whole.
Yes. So when we do have these conversations, like this really does strike a chord. And it doesn't matter how other people feel about our experience because it's our experience.
You have to feel, when I wake up and I don't care what goes on. Those who know me know. Good, bad, or ugly. When I go to bed at night, I feel good about myself.
Okay.
You have to know, Richard Arrington, when I first went in his office, this is what he said to me. He said, Juandalynn, he said, in here, you need to know who you are.
Okay.
He said, you need to know whose you are. And you need to know how all of those two things correlate. And also your ability to listen will determine your ability to succeed. You have to be able to listen and see others. But again, right now where we are, even as I look at the plan that I have for the city, you go to givanformayor.com. I have a full plan, not a piece of plan. I have a full plan of action that has been embedded into that website. And I am getting calls every day from old, young, white, black, in between, because what they're saying is, listen, people usually have a website, they put a few bullet points, but you have literally gone in to think of a master plan.
That's what we're doing every day.
You got to do it. And so I don't just want someone to vote for me because I've been in the House of Representatives. I'm not trying to take anyone down. I'm not trying to drag anybody. It benefits me.
Got to do what you got to do.
I'm not going to do that, but I am going to run this race, and I am in this race to win it. I feel like I have the ability. These shoes that I have, these shoes are made for me, and the feet that I use to step in my shoes, I'm going to do my best. And if I'm successful, I'm fine. If I'm not, I'm okay. But I wanted to go back to one thing, Woo, that we were just talking about, even how, folks look at this race or those who are getting in. There are going to be a number of people who are getting in the race. But what
is this now? April.
You have until June. You have
May,
until June. I think
July,
until June.
August.
But the thing about it is, what I've seen, and you asked me about the radio.
Yeah.
I chose early on in my political career not to do a lot of the radio. It's okay if you make a comment, but what I've seen as I've looked at some of the other shows, if you have to literally go in on a radio station and obliterate someone's character, and when I see women that do it, there's no place for that.
Yeah.
Not to prove a point or not to show your support for anyone. And when you see that, and when you see black men that would go on and criticize and call women out of their names, that's not being a part of a political foundation of democracy. That's what you just call mean-spiritedness. So, I got folks on doing podcasts now. They do taking a whole 2 hours to do a podcast on me.
Oh,
now, if you have 2 hours to do a podcast, to do nothing but to talk about me, you have to be absolutely obsessed with me. I'm serious.
I mean, you cute.
I don't don't know about all that, but I pass in a rush. But literally to do a 2-hour podcast. To talk 2.5, a little bit over 2.5 hours.
That's a long time.
To talk about me. Whoa, am I wrong? That's some kind of sick in the minds of someone that's in journalism, a VJ, a DJ, whatever.
Yeah, so the thing about that is ethical, non-biased broadcasters don't function in that space.
They're armchair mechanics who do not know the facts. I like that. That's kind of.
And even before that, those those who have studied communications. I have studied communications.
And they're very dangerous. It's very dangerous because the thing about it, you can't tell them anything. And if they get 2 views,
it's the truth.
Am I lying?
No, yeah, so amazing.
If they get
2 hours, 2 views.
2 views. And you better not let somebody share it because your numbers will go up. But the realization they don't understand that nobody's 2.
9 views.
Y'all being messy. Stop.
2, but the realization is 2 views. But if you on now 2.5 hours to talk, I have never seen that before. I've been around politics, this Birmingham politics, a long time.
It's new. It's different. It's different.
And so you got a podcast, but you're literally on talking about somebody for 2 hours about something you do not know anything about. You do not understand the dynamics of politics.
I don't even talk about myself for 2 hours.
I don't even want to talk. I don't want to talk about nobody. But then, listen. Well, and then you look so whack doing it.
Look at let's talk about something that's worth 2 hours of conversation, man.
Yeah.
Let them do it. Let them talk.
I feel like talk is talk.
Let them
because
talk.
I am on your website at givanformayor.com.
Come on,
you
Marshall.
have all of the things that you want
I'm not
done
playing.
listed out on this website. It's beautiful. Yes, and I think that everything on here, all of your priorities, I think this is actually things that need to be done for our city to be ran effectively.
We're serious. Yeah, well, I mean, I have a team, and I want to say I am so proud of the team that I have. We have people of the other color on the team.
Mm-hmm.
We have
it helps.
Straight folks, gay folks,
you
in
need
between
that diversity.
Folks. Listen, tall, short. Listen, we got it all. And when I tell you the team is coming together so beautifully, but these people are working their butts off to sit down here to construct a plan. All I can say is this, and again, I'm not knocking anyone. We have a plan for homelessness. The homelessness population here in Birmingham is out of control. That is why you're now seeing the influx of all of these people now inundating our communities where our mothers and fathers or grandparents and aunties and uncles live. And so we've got to deal with that. You can say, well, these people are crazy. They're being dumped off. Yeah, you can be dropped off, but don't mean you have to stay where you're dropped off at. The Alabama legislature changed the laws last year that added squatting on sidewalks, under the underpasses, and all those things. That is now called loitering. And loitering, the police, there's no excuse for you not to be able to go and pick those folks up, to take them and process them in. The problem is where you're going to send them.
Where are they supposed to go? Yes, I've seen that before, that they tried to arrest homeless people, but it's like, where are you going to take them?
Well, not in Birmingham, they did. They never did. They just kept saying that there's no law to arrest. But there is now a law to arrest. But listen, let me say this. When you get off the interstate, if you're going in Homewood, you don't see anybody at the corner of any ramp holding up a sign. They go where they are comfortable and where it is now permissible.
It's a bigger problem that I want to speak about when it comes to homelessness, because that is an area that is very much connected to mental health. And so those are services that I offer every single day, offering those services every day. But the support is needed from the city to offer those services.
Mental health, listen, you've got to have the mental health component.
Absolutely.
If you have the mental health component, you figure out where these people come from. And then some of these people, of course, you're dealing with the drugs.
For sure.
You're dealing with all of that, all of those different things. Y'all remember when they used to have the box cars, all of the trains downtown where Railroad Park is now? Well, one of the things when they moved all of those trains, because a lot of the homeless actually stayed inside of those trains that had been sitting there for many, many years.
Okay.
So now you've taken an element of refuge at that point from them. But what is happening now in downtown, sometimes when folks go to work and they're trying to go in their offices, well, they can't even get in the offices because folks have been sleeping in the doorways. Listen, I got a call the other day from Patton Park. A pastor preacher walks around Patton Park, called me all in alarm. This was last week. Well, all upset because walking around where the pavilion is, there was a man in broad daylight 2 weeks ago having oral sex performed on him in the broad daylight under the pavilion, just like it was nothing. And at this point, who's gonna go up to them? I'm afraid.
That's what I was just thinking. Like you, as a mental health clinician, I'm not somebody that's afraid. Like hey, come on now, what you doing?
It's inappropriate.
So it's a way to do it, but you do have to have support. So as as the mayor, as a leader, even in your position now, let's talk about that before we go to break. What are your thoughts on legislation when it comes to mental health? Like that is
absolutely.
where the bulk of our issues
I have
lie.
supported, and I think I've also co-sponsored several pieces of legislation. One in which we've got to make sure that we've got to address mental health, not just from just looking at the homeless. We need to address mental health in how our law enforcement police. Because every call that our law enforcement officers go on may not be a call for them. It might be a call for someone who is a social worker or who has the ability to deal more with a mental episode that is going on versus you going, the police is there, everything's getting out of control, but we've got to address this. But I want to say something about the mental health component. Black people got to also, not just Black people, because we're representing all races, but it's certainly in our community. We have to accept the fact that mental health defect and disease does exist in our communities. Nobody wants to say that I'm having a mental episode. No one wants to admit or be open to say it's okay to not be okay. Then you get into those bigger issues of drugs.
Yes, because that is way more prevalent now, drug-induced mental health.
That's where a lot of
it is coming from.
Yeah, and I know my good friend, my pastor, Reverend Dr. Haddon is sitting here, but we think the preacher can solve it all. But there are just sometimes, even with our kids now, people who are crying out for help.
Yeah.
And it's a culture shock. Listen, just even when every time I hear you say the word culture, go back to Kendrick Lamar. Even down to that Super Bowl. It's a cultural divide on everything that we do.
Yeah, it is.
It's a split, but it's also a cultural divide in the Black community on issues such as the mental health, on issues such as the homeless. But the thing is, do we continue to be desensitized to it, or do we take efforts to try our best to eradicate the problem? And that's a bigger conversation.
Hey, what you got?
Yeah, I was gonna jump in on the mental health piece from a pastor. My pastor and I both have this experience. Both have degrees from West Alabama, and so I'm one of the guys. You get sick, but if it's one of those situations where a therapist, a licensed trained therapist, is needed, yeah, I'm one of them pastors believe you can pray and take the pill. You can talk and sit on the couch. So. It is definitely an issue in this city. Mm-hmm. It's an issue in the world. It's an issue in the state. And until it's addressed head on, it's continue to be an issue. And like she said, I do know for a fact that drug-induced mental illness has risen at least 30% in the last 7 years, 30%. And they're projecting higher than that since COVID. So no one wants to talk about the effects that COVID had on people, but COVID had real social and
it messed us up.
It has some real impact. So I enjoyed hearing that piece.
Oh yeah, and absolutely your brain. Look, what would the fog?
Yes,
I mean,
it's all real.
All of that
it's
stuff.
All real.
It's all real. It's all relative.
So thinking about the mental health piece, legislation being put in place, money being put toward that being a government issue, our public officials knowing that that's something that we need to pay attention to and enact. We're going to look at some other things that you have put your stamp on over time and where you stand on different issues and how that impacts the city of Birmingham and your possible leadership. So we're going to take a quick break and come back in just a few minutes, not yet, but in a few minutes, we're going to come back and discuss some of that. Anything you all want to ask before we go to our second hour?
I guess diving a little bit more into mental health as what's going on in our government is going on, and you are a state representative and you are having a mayoral run. What do you do for self-care? Like, how do you tend to your mental health on this journey?
I have learned You know what? I'm about to tear up because you know what? Just the fact that you asked me that means so much. I think I started off with let people know that you see them.
Yeah.
Because people think that you walk around in these positions, you're criticized every day for things that you did, you didn't do, that you didn't even know you did. So you do have to have a moment. But I had to learn to say it's okay not to be okay. I had to learn to say that I have to step back sometimes. I had to learn to say that I need to stop answering the phone at a certain time at night. I had to learn that I needed to put the phone down as I'm driving to work in the morning. Because what happens is that means you're carrying those same issues to bed with you. You're waking up with those issues. And then I had to make them up in my mind that I want to live. I felt ill some years ago. And I had to make up in my mind that I wanted to live. So now what do? For me, I think Tyler Perry came out with this movie a few years ago for colored girls when the rainbow isn't enough. That depends on what your rainbow is. So I made up in my mind that if my rainbow is right here and I'm having a moment, let me see what it is I can do to make myself happy. But also what I learned to do was take a step back.
Okay.
Take a step back. But also in taking a step back, I learned to reevaluate myself when I've messed up, when I've done wrong, when I've done all I can do. At the end of the day, it's still me and God. And I trust God. That was one of the hardest things to learn how to do because you go to church. A lot of us raised up in church. Oh, you trust God. You're hearing all of this. Trust the Lord. The Lord will make a way somehow. He may not come when you want him, but he's always on time. But when you're going through.
Like, I hear y'all, but golly.
When you're going through. And now that we always hear it's a blessing on the other side of through, but you got to get to it to get through it. But I learned that wherever I am, God is with me. And I don't care what goes on. Every day I go to bed and I wake up now, I said, there's only one man. Don't matter what's going on in Washington. No matter what's going on in Birmingham, what's going on in Montgomery, there's only one man that can pull the sun out of the clouds. Only one. And with that being said, I've learned how to just.
It's an organ playing under you. Keep going.
I have learned that it's only one man. I don't care what you go through. It's only because listen, life's gonna happen.
It is. Amen.
With you or without, I tell people, look at the roads on the interstate, the cars on the interstate. I always say, what's going on with it? Well, the cars keep moving. That's right. The cars
gotta keep going.
Moving. So nothing's gonna stop because I'm down.
Want to.
Gotta keep going.
But I gotta keep going.
You are listening to the show right here on V94.9 WATV. Alabama State Representative Juandalynn Givan, mayoral candidate, is in the building tonight. We're going to spend some time with her, a little more time in the second half as well. Eddie just asked about self-care. Now, you told us, you gave us a word, but you didn't say what you do. Do you get your nails done? Do you like to go out to eat? Do you travel?
Because that question is going to get me in trouble in politics.
Really?
Oh, yeah, because first off,
self-care.
Spending her money wrong.
Listen,
self-care.
This is what this is what it will be. We around here suffering. We got all these issues, and she gonna talk about she go and buy herself a big pocketbook, or she buy herself a pair of shoes.
You got a job, right?
Oh yeah, but again, that's
see that's why I don't run because that's why I won't because
that's who you talking But the realization is, let me tell you what I love. I love shows. I love Broadway shows.
Okay.
I love to travel to places like New York. I don't have to go
that's my favorite place.
Border. I don't have to go all across the pond. My girlfriends, they go on all of these trips. But I love the beach. I love South Beach.
Yeah.
South Beach is my favorite place to go. Why? Because it doesn't take me that long to get there. And everything I need and I want, I can find it there. I don't like a lot of long travel, extended travel. I always say I like to be where my mama can come see about me if something goes on. But to each his own. But what do I really like? I love shows. I love just sitting back sometimes in the comfort of my own home.
Yeah.
And creating. That's right. And creating my own space. A lot of times people think they have to do all of these extra curricular things. Listen, there's only so many pocketbooks you can buy.
I got to curate my space with these ones I got.
You have to curate your space. And so what I have done, even in my home, in my everyday environment, I create spaces that look like me, that feel like me.
Like
Each room in your house should breed something different about you. So sometimes you may not go, because some of us have these houses, we don't even go in some of the rooms.
Yeah. Yes. Now that's crazy.
How much house do you need? So even with that being said, you find these spaces. But for me, I'll tell you what I like to do. I love a good crossword puzzle.
Okay.
I love a good crossword puzzle.
But okay.
I love a good.
I'm reading in between the lines of what she's saying, and I feel like the only thing I can hear is she can be by herself.
I'm good.
She can sit alone in the room.
I don't have to have
with her own thoughts.
Listen,
and she is okay.
I tell people it's only so much chicken. I don't drink it. I stopped drinking 5 years ago by choice. That was my choice. I had too much to lose. I had never been a drinker, but I started feeling like, okay, everywhere I go, somebody's putting a glass of wine in my hand. Somebody's putting something to drink. I'm dealing with people who have DUIs, who just had a DUI 2 blocks from their house. Listen, these things can happen. That's my choice.
Yeah.
But for me, I'm good in the space that I'm in when I'm alone, and I don't have to hear all of the issues that are embedded in everything or every nature. I'll say it like this. One of my favorite shows is RuPaul Drag Race. I don't know if y'all have ever watched it, but let me tell you why. I know Jonathan hadn't over there rubbing hand like, no. But listen, the reason I love that show, listen, there's a lot you can learn. You have these individuals, regardless of whatever is, but in that show, it allows people who have been trampled upon, downgraded, berated, who have been thought to be the least of these. But the RuPaul tells them at the end, regardless of how are you going to love someone else if you don't love yourself? So for me, I learned to love myself and to steal away, as she just said, and I'm good.
All right. Juandalynn Givan, more with her in the next hour right here on the show. It's V94.9 WATV. Quick break. Don't go too far. Tell your friends to turn the radio on. We'll be right back.
Rising stars, trusting with young. J. Mars,
Take a live call.
3 fresh and more. Saturday, April 26th at the Avondale.
Welcome back. Welcome back. If you're just getting here, if you had to take a break and go get your notebook, I'm glad that you did. All right. So, Representative Juandalynn Givan is in the studio. She is also running for mayor of the city of Birmingham. So when I say state representative, that's because where you sit right now. You've been there how long?
15 years, 4 terms.
15 years, 4 terms. So that means that you're doing some things there, making some moves there. And I kind of want to discuss some of the things that you've been doing down there so that people can understand the work that you do, what it is that you do that would be able to transcend into city government.
Well, first of all, let me say this, because sometimes folks are or the general populace, let me say, sometimes they get to a point where, the first thing they say, well, you're not doing this and such, and you're not doing this and such. Well, I have to respect the role of those who serve in those positions to do it. For instance, if you're telling me something that is the responsibility of someone that's in the county,
Yeah.
that's there are layers. We are lawmakers. The Constitution of this state says that it's only two things. My role is to pass a general fund budget and an education trust fund budget. And it allows only those who are lawmakers to pass laws. If we don't choose to pass one, it's our option. You have many legislators
I'm
that
just here.
never pass.
Really?
I've passed 20. I have more legislation. I think the last time it was stated to me a few weeks back, when I was considered to be the 1% out of the 99%, a few months back.
That's what's
and so
up.
several people called me to say, well, if you're the 1%, you get a heck of a lot done. So I'm proud of the legislation that I've passed. In particular, just recently, I was able to get legislation passed with regards to exhibition driving here in the city of Birmingham. When I first went into office, Judge Agnes Chappelle asked me to pass legislation regarding the habitual offender laws with regards to domestic violence.
Yeah.
I passed legislation for the city of Birmingham to amend the time in which the budget has to be passed in the city of Birmingham, and several other pieces of legislation just for the city of Birmingham alone. I've passed over 20-something solo sponsored bills. The Right of Publicity Act here in the state of Alabama that was passed, I carried it in the House. Senator Smitherman carried it in the Senate. That is now why Addie Mae Collins, even though we're still trying to make sure that she can get what she is so deserved, there were so many people taking advantage of her name and likeness, being a survivor of the bombing of the 16th Street Baptist Church. One of the reasons they have been able to do it is because we did not have a name and likeness bill that dealt with that. And so I won, and actually I received an award, Legislator of the Year for Region 7, I think it is, from the National Organization of Black Elected Legislative National Black Caucus of State Legislators. And so I'm very proud of that piece of work. So for those who would dare to say, well, you haven't done it. No, I've done a whole lot. You may not understand the nature of the bills, but I've done a whole lot. And I'm going to go ahead on and get one or two other pieces of legislation out of the way. Not only that, I've passed legislation that gives individuals that if you have a child, because for many people who had children back in the day, you all remember the Kaylee Anthony situation, where there was not a duty for a parent to report that their child was even missing.
Yeah.
And so you had a lot of children around the state of Alabama. I don't know what the pastor said over there, but listen, I hope you didn't just say, oh yeah. But the point is that bill was needed because we had situations where children had been missing and the parents would not report it because they had done certain things. So it's a number of bills that I've passed.
Let me ask about that's not the Ebony Alert bill, HB 19, is it?
The Ebony Alert, I'm trying to get that bill. Actually, there is a push across the country to try to force legislatures to pass legislation relative to the alert systems that go out, because everybody knows roughly about 500 and something thousand people per year go missing, and 40% of that typically are women of color.
Gotcha.
Okay. And of course, regardless of what has happened here in the state of Alabama, we all know that when it's someone Black, there's not necessarily an urgency of now. And the thing about it is everybody loves their children. I don't care what, even when you look at all of them, the killings that have taken place, I don't care how bad Pookie was. I don't care how bad Kiki.
They mama definitely gonna say
I've heard the voices of mothers that call with the shrieking voice. That's still my baby. I dealt with a mother who lost their child in 2022. I was on the phone with this woman Friday for a number of hours because it's still so raw to her and she hasn't gotten any relief. So, we just have to do more for our people.
Thank you. And thank you for taking time for phone calls like that. It shows the humanity in politicians and politics. It's about the people. I know that the people have given you some flack for a couple of these bills, though.
Now let's talk about
10 and 11. Is it 10 and 11?
I want to talk about
the bump. What you call them things? Bump stops.
No, not the bump stop. The bump.
Well,
I just passed out of committee. Thank God. Let me, because this gun issue is serious. Listen, we can pass whatever we want to pass with regards to the gun bills, and we were able to get the gun bill out. I started sponsoring gun bills immediately, either right before the Parkland shooting in Florida some years ago. I was one of the first persons in the legislature, Black, myself, Representative Mary Moore, and several others. When we sponsored in our gun legislation, the Republicans refused to even have a meeting to allow quorum. That's just how bad it was. And so as a result, I've been pushing gun legislation. So for those out there in radio land who say that I have, no, go back. You need to go and do your homework. And again, that's what happens when you're at home, armchair quarterbacking with these podcasts and things of that nature. Do your research to tell the people the truth, because it's in black and white, the number of gun bills every time. Not only dealing with gun bills, I've had gun bills to even restrict the age for rifles and high powered weaponry.
So those are the ones that are positive. It's the ones about the body cam footage. I think that's the one where it's like, that's against blacks. That's not for
it's
us.
Not. Listen, let me tell you something. It's not against the black people and those who are out here who are stating that and spreading that. Listen, it took 3, almost 4 years to get anything on the books for body cam. Period. We were denied. We were knocked out. We were knocked out the box. Well, I have a leader, a minority leader, Anthony Daniels. And a lot of times we have to do what we can do to get something on the books that will help us. Well, we did have a lot of parents and a lot of people after E.J. Bradford in Hoover to say, Ms. Representative Givan, even if we may not be able to have the physical body camera in hand, I want to at least know who killed my child. I want to at least be able to know if there was a law enforcement situation that took place. I want to know who it was. I shouldn't have to wait 3 months. I shouldn't have to wait 2 weeks. At least if I can see the footage. Well, we, again, for 3 or 4 years, begged to try to get something on the books. My initial bill was an outright release of the body cam. But then I started hearing from district attorneys. I also started hearing from other attorneys. And I also started hearing from individuals from all ends of the spectrum. Would I love to see body cam given to everybody? I am going to honestly tell you right now, no, I would not. Not right now. Why? Because the body cam footage can be a very dangerous weapon. At the end of the day, most of the people who want the body cams, I'm just going to be honest, and attorneys know it. I talk to attorneys all the time about this. They need it because they're trying to build a bigger case in court. But we had to come up with legislation to at least say that a parent or a representative of anyone who has been killed should be able to at least see it. The Republicans were not going to allow in any form, shape, or fashion. It wouldn't have cared if we marched. It wouldn't have cared if everybody from every organization in this country just bombarded the state house. It wasn't going to happen. But I'm proud of that work because right now, most of the people, even the Perkins family, they have seen the body cam footage. They were able to see it, but have a physical constructive possession of it, that may not be right now where they can just turn it over. And some places are turning it over. But in many instances, I want you to think about this to the listening audience and for all of those who criticize. Many of the killings that took place in Birmingham last year dealt with the fact that individuals were going to be potential witnesses.
Yes.
They were going to be witnesses to crimes that had taken place. And because of that, you had a young man who literally went out and took people out because he knew who they were. Could you have imagined, Woo, had we had a system where anybody who want to go pick up a body cam that can identify anyone, even little children, without having their faces obscured on there, and you can just go carte blanche, just go get a body cam. It would have been beyond a bloodbath in the city of Birmingham. So you need certain parameters. Yes, if you want to turn it over, fine, but there should be parameters. So for those who sit there and they listen to these sensationalized stories and they want to drag me, listen, I've done my homework. I know what I'm doing in this case, and I'm also trying to protect other people, because I would never want a little child who may be on that body cam and you have somebody out here that knows that they saw them. People kill kids all the time. So yes, it should be a part of the public record in some way, but there needs to be parameters. And guess what? You have a lot of those, even in our party, who do not believe that someone should just be able to receive body cams outright. Ultimately, I represented the Clark family in Tuscaloosa 2 years ago, my partner and I. Well, we were able to go in, make a petition for the body cam. Most of the folks that are around here now, their parents are seeing the body cams. That's number one. It's not where they have not been able to see it. They just cannot take physical possession, but it's up to that prosecutorial team to allow that. So I'm very thankful and I'm very grateful for the work that we did, because listen, coming from 3 to 4 years with someone not even allowing you to even bring it to a committee meeting, to now where I have people who write in and thank me to say, Ms. Givan, at least I know what happened to my baby.
That's important work. I think that is, like, having access to information is important. So I appreciate that. And I appreciate your clarity on that, because that was one that I was like, okay, so you all are upset with her.
But they read the headlines, but
Yeah,
you don't understand. And again, this was a decision that not just me, my leader, we had to construct this. And it's actually some good legislation. And I will not allow anyone who has never walked the halls of the Alabama House of Representatives, who have never attempted to construct a bill, who doesn't even know the process of constructing a bill, to light a fire to something that I have done, which I know there is a benefit to people.
Let's look at this one. Municipal police departments report number of law enforcement officers or officers employed by department to Alabama Justice Information Commission, ALEA, and Attorney General. I ask about that when you're a layperson doesn't even know what a lot of the way I write bills is.
Let me tell you what's going on.
It's kind of difficult.
And I know there are those that have their own beliefs about things, but let me tell you what's going on with that.
Okay.
Law enforcement or municipalities should be reporting to ALEA, the Alabama Law Enforcement Agency,
right
here in the state of Alabama. That information should go to them, because that information is sent through the NCIC system. Mm-hmm. That information goes all across the country to Washington, things of that nature. We need to know, the number of sworn officers. Folks can sit here and they can say what they want to, but let me tell you why you need to know the number of sworn officers. Because if you're thinking that you have anyone in your neighborhood that will be able to come and see about you if something happens or you're going somewhere, you have to be able now to make wise decisions. The West Side is the most populated area in the city of Birmingham. It makes up almost half of the city of Birmingham. Right now at West Precinct on any given day, or even South Precinct, even after Hush Lounge, you may have 5 officers on duty. But also you need to have that number submitted to the state, because once we receive the state and that money and it goes up the chain, if there are things that we can do to help get more money for law enforcement, get more money from the federal government, things of that nature, because that's what they use to gauge it by. So if I'm asking for money from the state to help the city of Birmingham, and right now the city of Birmingham, that's right. The city of Birmingham is saying, well, we have 1,500 law enforcement officers, in the realization that the city of Birmingham only has 300. That's what I'm saying.
Like
300 and some officers. So what happens is really by now the city of Birmingham should have been locked out of NCIC, because right now, even from last year, they're only showing 65 deaths. So this is something that should be going on anyway. But because there has been an attempt to mask the number, because of for whatever reason, the bad information on the numbers, it is critical that you know how many law enforcement officers are protecting you. That is just common sense.
All right. So with that being said, I know you've been in the news again because you said that the police chief was put in the wrong way. Like,
no, I didn't say that.
That's what they said. You said.
I don't care what they said.
What you
that's
said?
not what I said. As a matter of fact, I started off, and I'm glad you asked me that. I started off saying that I commend the chief of police. I have no problem with him. I've never had an issue with him. But let me explain to you, Woo, what I've been dealing with, not just last year. I've been dealing with this issue for the last few years. Our office represents officers. Because I worked at the city of Birmingham, I'm going to have information. I have access to information. I can get information. And it's not armchair quarterbacking information. It's factual in black and white information, hot off the press. I don't care who it is. And I want those in the radio land to hear me. I wouldn't care if it were my brother. I'm a serious kind of person when it comes to the real issues of the day. Yeah. Just because you're black, I don't care if you're white, purple, pink, orange, yellow, whatever. Our Birmingham Police Department has many issues that are going on. We have lost, over the course of 8 years, over 1,000 officers. That is a very serious undertaking. This administration has had, 6 chiefs? Not only 6 chiefs, whether and 2 of them may have been interim, then you have had over 20-something combined assistant chiefs and deputy chiefs. You still consider them chiefs. So that's over 30 individuals in leadership that has rolled out. Well, one of the reasons you have so many officers that are leaving and have left is because there has been a system set up to where everybody's been rolled in over them. So apathy kicks in. They feel downtrodden because I've been here working this job forever. So I did not have a problem with this chief. What I simply said was I stated a fact, whether it be him or anybody. It doesn't matter to me who it is. If you had not had a certain level of experience, getting a promotion but not supervising is 2 different things. And you ultimately, in the last year, you started supervising as a deputy chief. But the realization is this is a big job where you already have a department in crisis. And I want to caution the people out there, because for those who have said I have criticized, I've not criticized anyone. Chief Roper would always say, he would always tell his people, his men, listen, I'm not going to brag the fact that crime is down for the last few weeks, because the issue is not if it's coming back. The issue is when, and we have to be prepared because we don't want to give the people a false sense of hope. I wish this chief the best, but I will not have any chief. I don't care who it is. It could be my father. It could be my mama or my brother. At the end of the day, we have a duty to protect and serve the citizens of this city, whether he's black or whether he's white, woman, or male or female. I have no problem with that. Listen, and for all of those who would dare to say that is not what I said. But what I did say is we have to move past a system in which there is an erosion continued at the police department. So however we can fix that, I'm hoping and I'm praying that this chief will do that. I pray for him. And I have prayed for him, and I will continue to pray for him, and I will lift him up. And I'm excited to see what he can do. But I also realize that most of the crimes that are being solved right now are being solved by 60% of those crimes are being solved by our sheriff department. They're also being solved in collaboration with the FBI, AFT, and DEA. If the city of Birmingham has not been able to solve a crime in the last, I don't know how many years, how many people think they can just solve them in the last few weeks? And what is happening, they are literally being solved by these other agencies, and they are then giving them, once they identify the assailant, they're just making the arrest. So we don't want to continue to lie to the general public, but we are grateful unto the Lord. And I want to repeat this. I'm grateful unto the Lord that some of these families are now having some closure. I'm thankful for that, but I'm not going to lie to the general public, and I don't care who it is. And even when someone talks about the look of someone or the look of that person, listen, at the end of the day, those mothers thought their children were beautiful. They thought their children were fine. This is no laughing matter. But at the end of the day, we all have a responsibility. And to close out, Woo, because I just want to say one thing.
Okay.
Because I'm not criticizing anyone. For 8 years, I've called in the midnight hour. For 8 years, I've called and I've begged and I've pleaded because I do understand the dynamics of city government. I've called with the information. I've called saying we've got to get a handle on the number of sworn officers leaving. I've begged, not only myself, several of my colleagues. I got you, G. I'm going to do it, G. Another year passes. The numbers are going down. We're losing 80 officers. Just like last year, we get this rollout where Birmingham is going to have the largest class. Well, that rookie class had 29 starting out the chute, but the general public thought that they were getting 100 and something officers. It's 29 officers, and I think 18 ultimately just finished. But in between that time period, every week, 5 officers, 6 officers are leaving. I have it in black and white. So you're not even making up for the 18 that just finished. Listen, I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. I'm running this race because I am sick and tired of every other week or every other day that we have death after death after death. Every day I walk out of McDaniel's Law, I'm walking on the street where Sergeant Wytasha Carter, my friend, was killed because he worked to do a shift where he shouldn't have been working because he had already said we don't have enough men to work this shift. So I am not spitting anything out that cannot be backed up. I don't care who it is. If it's me, hold me to a standard. Talk about me, criticize me, but everything that I'm saying can be backed up. The realization is last year, 100 and almost 60 people died. I have a board in my office in Montgomery, and I'm closing. Every time someone visits me in the State House, every time someone visits me, someone walks up to that board and can identify someone. I had students down last week. It broke my heart because several of those students were able to walk up to the board instantaneously with tears in their eyes because they had lost a friend. So this is a serious thing. This is not about liking someone or not liking somebody. Listen, eventually change is going to come to the city of Birmingham, whether it's me or not.
Yeah.
And I feel I'm just as qualified to bring it. But I am running because of 160, nearly 60 people that died last year. I am running because these potholes continue to be prevalent in our communities. I am running because of these raggedy streets that are out here. I am running because we have all of these buildings that are dilapidated within our communities that used to be thriving businesses. I am running because not since I'm not sure how many years, we've not had one new housing community. Oxmoor was the last one. I meant to add the Oxmoor piece in, but listen, Oxmoor is a split between Birmingham and Hoover and the cutoff. So at the end of the day, you can't build communities if you're not bringing families back. We were number 1 at one time. We're no longer number 1 in the state. We are number 4. We are number 4 in the food chain of funding. We are number 4. So for those of you who want to check my record, check me. Do whatever you need to do to check me. I can stand my ground. I will debate anyone on the facts. I will debate anyone right now. I will debate them outside of Short 20th Street in City Hall, and no one will be able to come and tell me anything that I'm lying about. You may not like me. Hey, that's your choice. You may hate me. That's your right. I love haters. Haters keep me up in the air. I have no problem with it. I could never fly if it was not for a hater. Listen, at the end of the day, I'm standing on business. Birmingham is time, and I don't care who it is. I don't care whose brother it is, whose mama it is, whose sister, whose uncle. We cannot allow our city to continue. I had people calling, and I'm closing last year for the holidays. I'm scared. I'm scared. I'm a Baptist. But listen, let me tell you what they were calling. I'm scared. I don't even want to go visit my mama. I didn't even want to, you don't even want to come and visit your mama in a neighborhood that you grew up in all your life because you tired of seeing the community. I had to go to a church in West End a few weeks ago. I've told this story several times. My colleague, who just happens to be white, was driving. We were going to another colleague's. Actually, we were going to meet Patrick Sellers, Representative Sellers. I'm driving and I'm just kind of touching up, and I hear him say, "Oh my God." So I said, well, he hadn't hit anything. Guess what? He said, I cannot believe that the leadership of this city has allowed these neighborhoods to go down like this. I was so hurt. I was so embarrassed. So I said, well, listen, welcome to our world. He said, I just can't believe it. And so I went to Homewood Pharmacy the other day to get a prescription. I only had one prescription over there. I had to go pick it up. I missed the turn, one of the turns, so I had to drive deeper into the community. People were out walking dogs.
I just posted that.
Running. Listen, whoa, it looks like you in a hurl. You look like you in a whole different community.
Yeah.
What is wrong with us having communities where people can walk their dogs on sidewalks that are not crumbling, that they can walk their children, they can push the strollers, they can throw the frisbees. These are houses that don't look no different than the ones in Ensley, Bush Hill, College Hills, Norwood. Listen, so you mean to tell me if you're listening to me and you on this phone and you on here hating on me right now, you mean to tell me you got enough nerves to say everything you see in the city of Birmingham, I'm talking about in the rest of the 96 neighborhoods. And if you saying that, I'm not sure what your problem is. But let me tell you something. At the end of the day, I believe our people deserve better. And I believe that our people are they should be able to sit on the stoops, or they can throw the frisbees and walk the dogs and run and do whatever.
I totally agree.
Without having, you can't even walk down the street without a Rigo wrapper. Church's Chicken, Burger King, McDonald's, cups, trash everywhere. Yes, people can say that the city of Birmingham, people shouldn't litter. Yeah, they shouldn't litter, but we know they're going to litter. We need to get it up. You can't get it up unless you staff the street.
That makes me go, okay, I hear you on that part. You gave a solution about staffing the streets and sanitation department. I then want to always go back to the mindset piece, which I think is way bigger. Mayor equals mindset. Is that fair? It is fair. Y'all think it's fair? Mayor equals mindset. If I'm the top, I'm the top city.
Yeah.
But then that means I'm gonna have to run and wear it.
Well, I think what it is what I said. We have become desensitized.
Okay.
We have become desensitized to the reality. Also, you have those who have access. Yeah. Positions breed access.
True.
Listen, we sat here a minute ago talking about women leadership. I'm talking about department heads. There is not one woman department head at the city of Birmingham. Wow. The first thing, once I start, when I'm elected, I'm going to make sure I have some sisters up in there helping me run these doggone departments. That's number one. Listen. Okay, listen, do you hear what I'm saying? So the realization is, I don't care. And then for some of the ones, it's amazes that has been critical of me. Guess what? Some of those same people that are in these positions in the city of Birmingham right now were the same ones that if they didn't get promoted, the first thing they wanted to do was file a lawsuit or a complaint against the city of Birmingham. Now, that's from one of the armchair quarterbacks who criticizes me all the time, but this person is in this little rank that they have, all because they raised so much hell to get there. But yet you want to criticize me because I raised the issues regarding the city of Birmingham. I'm going to keep raising them, win, lose, or draw on August the 26th. The realization is we've got to get more people back in these departments so we can take care of this city. Everything cannot be privatized. Everything cannot be privatized, but also you have to build the morale of these people. I have email after email, comment after comment. I've represented so many people before the personnel board over the years that have worked in these departments. So I'm going to have a different insight with regards to these issues. But at the end of the day, we are better. So if you're that dead set against anybody running because they're speaking the truth, because you have access and this is your friend. Listen, your friend ran against somebody's friend at one time. So if they had the opportunity to run, I certainly should have the opportunity to run, and may the best man or woman win. And when it's over, we come together and we work together. But what I will not do is allow you to trample my education, not trample me as a woman, because I am proud to be Black, I am proud to be female, and I am proud to be uniquely made by the man who created me. Amen. And that is the same man that I said that can still pull the sun out of the clouds.
All right, well, let's go to the phone line. Look, my text message is blowing up. I need y'all to call in and put it on the comments. Share it in the comments. I'll call you're in with the show. What's your question, thoughts, feelings, any of that? What you got?
First of all, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I was just like to say, Everybody know I'm a man's man. But I have said it once. I'm going to say it again. That I, as a man, a black man, endorse Juandalynn Givan for mayor of Birmingham.
All right, then, praise you, brother. I appreciate it. Listen, everything in this room got quiet. It got quieter than a church house mouse. I appreciate it.
Because we're trying to hear what he was getting to.
Yeah,
bro, she gonna say it?
Hey,
bro.
That could have went left.
We were all sitting here like, well,
good morning.
Okay,
I
where we going?
thinking about Encore brunch.
I appreciate it. Yeah, everything I've ever tackled here, you can say what you want to say about me. I've stood. You know, someone would make the argument even about Brookside. Well, I want to say this. Well, someone would make the argument, no, you didn't take. Yes, I did take down the Brookside Police Department because guess what? Yes, the complaints came in. Yes, people made whatever the rallying calls. But my role as the legislature was to be the voice that your voice could not be, to get you to the point that we could get change. That is what we do. I'm not taking credit for it, but what I'm doing is I'm saying, when I ran for office, I ran as a vessel. I ran to be a voice for the voiceless. So when your voice cannot be heard to get the change you need, you should be appreciative when the change comes.
And that's why people are wondering why run for mayor when you're actually in a position to make laws and legislation and be their voice.
I'll still be able to get laws passed. I'll be able to do those same things, having the relationships. At the end of the day, there's a city here with about 190 something thousand people in it. And this city is bigger than one person. And I believe that this city deserves to be served, deserves to be saved, because I'm just going to be honest with you. We cannot. And listen, and I want to be clear. I don't hate anyone. I'm not against anyone. Even when there was a meme done of me a few months ago, even when I was called the 1%, I took it. I even said, listen, if you're going to use a picture of me, use a big picture. I can take it. I have thick skin. But at the end of the day, I want to say one thing about that, Woo, because there's been an issue about me saying that the National Guard, this is what happened. I didn't say that we needed to have the National Guard brought in or mandated. The question was asked of me by Sheriff Petway in a meeting in which he called in May. And in that meeting was myself, Representative Travis Hendricks, Representative Mary Moore, Alan Treadaway, Hollis, several others, the sheriff, the chief at the time, Thurman. Sheriff Petway met with us and said, listen, I don't have the full staffing either. And in the event, and I want to clear this up for the radio warriors and assassins out there. Listen, in the event, if something catastrophic happens, and what he said was, he even referenced, for instance, the storm of 2011. That's the big storm that happened in the Pratt community. If something catastrophic happens, we don't have the backup. And so what we said as a collective, that if something catastrophic, only in the event, if you roll back every time I had said that so many times before the Hush Lounge, when you roll it back, if you research it, Google it, you're going to see I had been saying that because that's what we all said in the meeting. Even the day after the Hush Lounge, I said that. I simply said, in the event of something catastrophic. Well, Greg Garrison from AL.com, he calls me. He said, Juandalynn, I just want to piggyback on what you said about, and he even referenced the catastrophic situation in the National Guard. I said, okay, but when Greg wrote his story, he didn't write in the event of something catastrophic, because that's what sells papers. So it was a big buzz, but I never said we need the National Guard. The question was, if something catastrophic happens, and I said we would be ready, stand ready, all of us, that we would ask the governor to assist, just like I did when the storm of 2011 came. When I'm walking and I got back in, folks still in looting, the first thing I did was got on the phone with Governor Bentley, and I said, listen, I need the National Guard here, not the next day. I don't want this to be like New Orleans. I said, I need them here tonight because we have got to secure Pratt City. And before 5 o'clock, they were there. Facts. Jonathan Haddon, Pastor Haddon was there. Okay? Facts. In the event only. And you all should be thankful that someone would be in a position to say, in the event that if we get to a point, That's power. But not only that, you're looking out for people. Because you will be the same ones that will criticize.
Let's go back to the phone lines, you guys. Caller, you're in with the show. What's your thoughts, questions, comments, feelings? Hello. All right. Well, okay. 994-8949 if you'd like to get in on the conversation. Don't just say it to the screen. You don't have to talk to your phone. You can actually call in and be a part of the conversation. 994-8949. What's she calling, Wendy? Radio ninjas.
They assassins. No, they assassins. I mean, and then listen, it's so bad that it got so bad the other day. I never look at the comments. So folks were calling me saying, such and such and such and such cousin, or such and such and such and such cousin that worked for the city. And then so by that time, it was so many people calling all over to identify who the callers were.
Wow, you guys, calm down.
They were all of the negativity, and again, to see women who have children, who are girls, the vitriol. That's the thing that amazes me. So when you ask the question, that
was a V word. You hear me? Any word with a V, we gotta use it.
It's so ridiculous until it just breeds hate, which is unnecessary. And when you ask the question, have you ever sat down? Have you ever had a conversation? You've never even sat down with me. So no, I don't do a lot of the radio shows for that. But if that's your opportunity to vent, or you are hiding behind some other name, be who you are and listen. We can discuss it, because whatever you want to come at me about, I can back it up.
Back it up.
Yeah, once you get
back it up. Yeah, remember that? 994-8949 is the number. 994-8949 in studio tonight. Alabama State Representative Juandalynn Givan, who is also a mayoral candidate for the city of Birmingham. We are voting August 26, 2025. That's like 4 months away. Mm-hmm. That is 4 months away. And at this point,
Birmingham is time. And listen, there are going to be other people. Listen, I'm telling you, vote for you. First of all, vote.
Yeah.
Birmingham had less than a 25% voter turnout in 2021. Birmingham, even just if you're looking at those who are in the urban areas, we're still 73% Black in this city, but we only had 25% turnout. And that's critical when you look at the need for our children. And listen, for those of you all who say that this is being done, if it's being done, it's not working. Number one. So when you make that argument, it's being done, it's not working. The school system here is making some great strides. Listen, I represent educators. I know what these teachers go through. I would never say our teachers are so lazy that all of them need to be sent home. I'm going to say that we need to appreciate our educational system. Birmingham City Schools, 20-something thousand people. Not everybody can go to a choice school. Not everybody can be a part of a charter school program. But at the end of the day, we need to put the programs back into our schools that the children want, that interest them. And next thing, when you're talking about kids, how many of you have sat down and talked about kids? Well, I have. I sit down every time I go into that platform. Not only the kids, I'm sitting down with OGs. I'm sitting down with people who have been in gangs. I'm sitting down getting the intel, getting their perspective, listening to them. So I'm not just here rattling off of these things, even down to now they're bringing back the PAT program, the Police Athletic Association program. Well, I started talking about that, the DARE program. I'm proud to say that much of what y'all see now, because everything now is moving, is because I started raising so much hell. It is undeniable. It is truly set in stone that had I not started putting so much pressure, now everything from my platform is being instituted. So my platform is serving not only for me, it's helping to serve those that are going to be running in this race and that will be on the ballot. So that's a lot to say. Imitation is the highest form of flattery.
That's what it is. Caller, you're in with the show. What are your questions, thoughts, comments, or feelings? Caller.
So you talking to me?
I'm talking to you.
Oh, okay. Hey, how y'all doing?
Good. How are you?
All right. I just walked in and I saw it on Facebook. I said, "Ooh, they live."
Yes, sir. What it do?
Oh, okay. And they talking about the mail.
Yeah. You got some comments? Tell me what you think.
Oh yeah. I don't think Birmingham need another Black man.
Okay. Tell us about it.
I just really don't. I'm talking about, we've been having black mayors since '79, and things just been going downhill. And you can see cities around us that's growing, like Hoover. Hoover started growing in '86 when they got a Galleria. Then Trustville just came out of nowhere and started growing. Gardendale, they growing. Fultondale growing. Irondale growing. And Birmingham just ain't going nowhere.
Okay.
Like me, I drive a concrete truck in Birmingham.
All right.
All right, and let's start with the parks. It just seemed like the city of Birmingham don't care nothing about their parks. Now you go out, okay, like right now, Irondale and just redid their parks. They got turf. They got, they just rebuilt everything. Trustville doing the same thing. You pass by Birmingham Park, and it's like, well, whoever the city council and the mayor just don't give a crap about that park. But the parks in these outside cities, they know that the future starts with those kids. And they got to groom those kids and have those kids going to places where they can have success. But Birmingham don't do that.
Okay.
I'm talking about we've been going 3 years without, what I'm saying, having a swimming pool. The only swimming pool open is over in O'Quinn's district over there in Crestwood.
I'm with you. I'm gonna cut you right there. And if you want to call back in, call back in. But I hear you. Now, the part that I disagree with is that we just don't need another black mayor, period. But everything else that he stated, those were facts.
Yeah, I was on the show.
Irondale mayor is black.
He is black.
Yeah,
but it is growing.
Yeah, Irondale is
growing.
Black. But I would say, well, because I spoke about this when I was here on Thursday.
Okay.
And I talked about, I was shocked when I went to about even just Lynn Park. I was devastated. I didn't even, and as much as I'm in and out the courthouse, I don't know how I missed how bad Lynn Park looks. It is deplorable. Kelly Ingram Park it should be treated like sacred holy ground
For
here.
sure.
Just from the movement itself, it looks. I don't know if anybody cutting the grass. I don't know if they're fertilizing. But when I tell you, you don't even have green grass. But I will just say to the caller, listen. We can say what y'all want y'all to really think about this. Voter apathy is in here. As just was said, the city of Irondale mayor is black. But what I'm going to tell you is now that same commentary y'all had about the black man or the black mayor or black leadership. If you look around what's going on in this country right now, some things we just need to kind of think about. Let's take a chance on trying to get better leadership. But I agree with you because it goes back to livable spaces.
Yeah.
Those areas. And I will say this, and I will play it if y'all would allow me at some point. I started my opening of my first reel that I did announcing my campaign off with Gardendale, Hoover, Homewood, Vestavia, Gardendale.
Say all of
Mountain
the surrounding
Brook,
areas.
And I opened up with that because the whole thing was to shift the focus to it's got to get to a point where we get to a realization that we should deserve that, but we can no longer be desensitized because it has just become okay. And we have allowed it. And that's just the bottom line. It's sad.
Yeah. I when I hear these things and I hear different statements, it does mean that people are tired of certain things. But the question does remain, what are you willing to do about the problems that you see? And I will say that one of those things is that you can either run for office or you can be active in your neighborhood. You can make relationship.
Or you vote them out.
Yeah, you make relationship and then or you vote and your voice speaks for you in that way. So there are things to do, but I do appreciate that call because when you start hearing people tell the truth about their experiences, it lets you know what's important to some people. It may not be important to all, but it's definitely important to me.
And he's right. You're creating livable cities, and just to hear the gentleman say that itself, it's a realization of how other people think.
Yeah,
man, I'm in my neighborhood, but why can't I have a decent park? Why can't my kids? All of these neighborhoods had swimming pools. These women, there was a promise, I'm not sure how many years ago, to get these pools up. I don't care what one administration did versus the other administration. I care about the administration that's in that ran on that same promise to fix these pools so our kids can have somewhere to go in the summertime. And they're not up. I was just in a meeting in West End last month at their meeting. The gentleman, he's an older gentleman, he was very upset. He said, I'm sick and tired of this pool not being up and running.
And don't wait until summertime to talk about lifeguards. Like, it's a lot of things that can be done, should be done. And, you know, as a non-biased broadcaster, I'm going to speak as a citizen. We have to advocate for ourselves and make sure that the people hear us, make sure they see us, make sure that they know us, so that no matter who's in the office, this is what we expect.
Yeah.
I don't care who in the seat. This is what I expect.
Just like the loitering, the homeless, the squatters. I can bet you $500 to a bucket of crap. You are not going to go to Hoover, Homewood, right next door, just once you go over 20th Street, and see a homeless person at the edge of that ramp with a sign out saying, I will work for food, knowing he or she ain't gonna work for no food. There is a tent set up. If you are driving 65, if you look over there to where Lamar Signs is, they have a whole village. Yeah. That's a whole village right there. You think you're going to see that in Hoover? You're not going to see that in Hoover. You're not going to see a sofa that's just sitting out on the sidewalk in the city of Hoover, and it's just sitting there just like it belongs there, begging for people to come and sit in it. You have to demand that. I'm not sure why there's not a greater demand. First of all, you shouldn't have to demand it, but if you get into that situation, certainly you should. Again, I'm not here to criticize anybody. I've not called one name. I'm not going to do that. The proof is in the pudding. The proof is in the pudding. My car right now, I've not even gotten it fixed. I refuse to. Somebody raised the issue the other day when I said I had a cracked rim. Well, I did, because I have a ceramic rim. And it did cost that amount of money because of the type of car that I have. So I had to get it replaced. So at the end of the day, it is very expensive when you're hitting these potholes. But we should be able to drive on smoother seats. This revitalization money from the COVID, I'm not sure where they put all the money, but it certainly wasn't in our neighborhoods, not to a point that it could be realized. You know, I saw certain council persons on there and they were talking about, but yeah, if I go in your neighborhood, I see the walking trail. I see the grass planted. I see the flowers. I see all of that, but I don't see it in the neighborhoods that I mentioned. I don't see it in Roebuck. I don't see it in those areas.
Y'all, it's a very loaded conversation. Shouts out to those of you in the comments. Now, I'm glad you started talking, because it was a two-person back and forth on that. I was tired of seeing it.
It's always.
I'm
it's
so glad that you guys are here. I mean, because every Sunday you all are, the comments are jumping here, so I really appreciate that. Big Walt, shouts out to you. Next time there's an event and I don't know about it, there's going to be a problem, especially when food is involved. Like, how did I not know about that? So yeah, I have that bone to pick with you, literally and figuratively. I saw some oxtails. Why am I not there? What is going on? Who else is in the comments? Ashley, Brenton, Snow, DJ UT Snow. He said something about objective radio. I think that's what I saw earlier. It's right here.
To call in.
It's right. It's right. It's right here. 17 years. It's here. What up, Courtney J? What up? Let's see who else. Kendrick, this is a short enough comment for me to read before we get ready to get out of here. Nah, it's not that. Doesn't a black mayor, or, well, that's kind of choppy. It's Birmingham needs to get rid of these people. Some of the people that are in these places causing these problems. Caller, you're in with us with the show. What are your quick questions, quick comments, quick thoughts, or quick feelings?
Hello?
Hey, caller.
Hey, you told me I can call back. Listen, I'm gonna be real brief.
Okay.
Look, I'm gonna tell you just how deep Birmingham I am. I remember when West End used to be a high class neighborhood.
That part.
Yeah. I remember Eastlake was beautiful. I remember when Ensley was looking good. I remember everybody was trying to move to West End.
Yeah.
You know, and listen, and like when I moved to West End in 81, they had their nose up in there. Mm-hmm. If you were wearing Jordache, Calvin Klein,
that's right, BK.
Lee Jeans,
Gloria
Penny
Vanderbilt.
Loafers.
Okay.
You didn't fit in. You know, I'm talking about Birmingham was it. You know, Birmingham was working class black people.
That's right.
And if you didn't work here, you couldn't live here.
That's right.
And that's what we need to get back to.
Ooh, but do you truthfully and honestly feel that a black mayor wouldn't help us get back to that? Like
the reason why I
need a
say
white
that
mayor to put us back in the good old days, like literally.
Look. The reason why I say that because over the years, we as black people in Birmingham just don't respect black authority. You know, I'm talking about. I remember they was trying to do the, the traffic stops, the license stop, and everybody complained about that. Man, why they pulling me over? Man, why they checking my license? You know what I'm saying? You know, but they wouldn't say that over the hill over there in Homewood. They wouldn't say that over there in Hoover. They'll just get them license up, like, here you go. You know, and stuff. So, you know what I'm saying? So, but hey, but listen, but I'm gonna let y'all finish that up and everything and stuff, and hey, and this is a good program.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you calling in and sharing that. One more call really quickly. We got about 6 minutes left. Caller, you're in with the show. Thoughts, questions, feelings. Keep them brief for me, please.
I try to, and I will try to. First of all, forgive me on the text. Somehow, I don't know, my sentence wasn't complete.
It's okay.
But let me say this, okay? Let me give a reason why I endorse Givan. She's not going to. First of all, she's not going to sell us out. I have not seen a history of her being a sellout, and she defended her stance appropriately. She made a very good argument. Let me say this again. She made a very good argument. She gave you detailed facts about why Birmingham is in the shape that it's in, and the number one reason why Birmingham is in the shape that it's in is because of poverty and crime. The city of Birmingham did not solve cases. Okay, citizens in the city of Birmingham did not feel safe, and it's not a problem of black leadership alone. It's a problem of morality in the city of Birmingham, and more especially in our culture.
So we back to culture. It's a cultural issue, and it's going to take more than just the mayor to repair that. So we do know that the mayor is the top citizen, the top representative of the city, and then the people have to follow suit. So I thank you, both of you guys, for those comments tonight. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening.
Man.
Yeah, let's go with those, and then I want Representative Givan to wrap up.
Just before she leaves, I just want her to make sure she says what the website is, so people can actually see your plan of action. Please.
It is. If you can see it right here, Givan.
She is legit because she has the church fan,
Look,
y'all.
Where them fans at?
You ready?
Listen, I sat down in a charrette with some women, chatting with some women the other day, y'all. They started saying, where Givan at?
Okay.
And I was like, oh my God, where Givan at? But listen, it is Givan. My name is spelled Giv as in Victor, AN 4 FOR mayor.com. Go to the website givanformayor.com. It will detail my plan for jobs, environmental justice for our people, affordable housing, utilities, transportation, crime reduction. Listen, I'm running a race based upon these I call it the CPR. Well, I could put it in reverse, but anyway, CPR: crime, control, combat, conquer. P, people, protection, and progress. R, revitalize, rejuvenate, and reinvest in our communities. I am not playing. I am serious. Birmingham is better. Birmingham is bigger. Why am I running? Will you ask me that several times versus the State House? Listen, people bled and died, were beaten, spat upon. The 16th Street Baptist Church sits right down there prominently in the Civil Rights District. Our city is better than where we are. And our people who went through so much from generation to generation deserve better. At least if I can't build every new building, I can start a paint program back in our community development department. We used to have a paint program in which people could come and pick up paint and they could paint their houses. We know the economy is fluffy. The gentleman, I want to say this to the gentleman that called, he's not lying. West End was prime property. Listen, these houses that we're speaking of in West End, in Ensley, in Norwood, Bush Hill, look no differently than the houses over in Homewood that are now valued at $500,000 to $1 million. $500,000 to $1 million for a 3-bedroom house that is not even 1,200 square foot in Homewood. That's just how the value is. So you mean to tell me I shouldn't expect that for Birmingham? You should expect that and you should want that. Again, your political choices are your political choices. But if you're sitting here tonight to rag me and to drag me, what you're saying is it's okay for our people to live the way they live. Yes, we should, as citizens, take some responsibility. Yes, we should stop littering, but we understand that's not going to always be the case. We don't need dumpsters at our public works department. We need people. When I worked at the public works department, there were at least 1,300 to 1,500 people working there, not 500. You cannot clean a city with 500 people and keep it clean, creating more overtime. That job, and pay these people at the public works department more money. We found raises for every department, but we've not found an increase for our public workers.
All right, my sister. So Givan4mayor.com has been posted online. If you're watching online, it's there. If you've been listening, you've heard it. We will hear from other mayoral candidates throughout the election cycle. I'm looking at all the comments coming in now. You guys are a little late, but thank you for listening. This is great. So Givan4mayor.com.
And they can leave messages. We are returning all phone calls. Listen, I'm here for it. Good, bad, or ugly. I want to hear your good. If you have a complaint, whatever, let's talk about it. I'm bringing people into the office. We're setting appointments because when I am mayor, the first thing I'm going to go back to as far as meetings, I'm going to go back to a chat and chew on every Friday where I'm going to allow citizens to come in and talk to me. We got to open the doors back up to City Hall.
All right. The doors shall be open right now. The doors of this show are open and closed at the same time. Y'all have a good night. I'll see you tomorrow. Well, you'll hear me tomorrow at 12 noon for the free lunch flashback right here on V94.9 WATV. Y'all get your sleep in, get your outfits ready to meal prep. See you this week.
This was great. Thank you. This was good.
Attention, entrepreneurs.
Man, I gotta go get hold on, get off that line so I can say what I gotta say. Let me know when
Look, I just need your mom.
Let me know when you're in that. I gotta go get